Peace everyone, Unmask here, and welcome back to the self-portrait live stream. Today I'm going to be continuing on filling in the dark stripes on my shirt here, and hopefully I will be able to get done with at least the dark stripes. I don't actually know if I'll be able to get to the light stripes today, but maybe. We'll see. So let's just get to coloring. And if you guys have any questions for me, don't hesitate to ask. I'm starting the stream a few minutes early because I'm all set up, I'm ready to go, and there's no reason to wait. Not when we are over halfway through the month, which means I only have 15 more days to finish this portrait. And so far, I think things are going well. You know, I think I'm going to be able to finish it. The shirt is taking a little bit longer than what I originally anticipated, but some of the other parts took less than what I anticipated. So it's all kind of working out a little bit. So I think I'll be able to finish it up. Hope everyone had a fantastic Wednesday. We are on to Thursday, which means I will be doing a live stream, a live colored pencil tutorial over on my Patreon. And today we're starting a new project, a new colored pencil project. We're going to be coloring a betta fish. The line art and reference photo for that is already available for those of you on Patreon. And for those of you that haven't yet signed up on Patreon, what are you waiting for? We have just as much fun over there. So I'd be very happy to see you over on Patreon as well. Hey there, Lindy, Gary, Mima. Good to see all of you here. Started a little bit early, so it may take a few minutes for other people to show up. And I'm also streaming in my morning, which means most of my US viewership is still sleeping. It's a little early even for the East Coast to be up watching YouTube. So you guys are going to be the driving force of today's conversation, so don't hesitate to ask me some questions about whatever. Hi there, Lynn. Good to see you again. I'm in a bit of a relaxed mood this morning, so I am not going to be rushing the stripes on this shirt by any means. I'll be taking my time. My extra slow time, I might add. Sometimes I get a little I don't know how to describe it, but rushed, I guess, is the best way to describe it. And so I complete things a bit faster. But today, you know, I just feel like letting the pencil do all the work. And I'm just gonna sit back and let it do its thing. Once I fill in these dark stripes, I'm gonna use solvent to smooth them out and hopefully get a little bit better coverage on the paper before I attempt to move on to the lighter stripes. No, this is not charcoal. This is colored pencil. Everything that you see is colored pencil. Oh, thank you, Lynn. I'm glad you like the way it's coming together. Yeah, I like the way that it's coming together too. It looks, you know, I go back and I check the video quality and stuff on the streams, and man, I gotta tell you, this drawing doesn't look nearly as good on camera as it does in person. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot that still needs to be done everywhere. Everything that you might think is complete is far from completion. So hopefully, hopefully I can get it both looking good in person and looking a little better on camera. I'm a bit disappointed on how bad it looks on camera. But my standards are quite high, so if you guys think it's looking good, then I guess that's all that really matters. Dinner time in Australia? Yep. What are you guys eating today? So far, all I had today was a banana. I kind of lost track of time. I was prepping for today's Patreon tutorial as soon as I got up, and I forgot to eat anything. And so just before the stream, I ate a banana. And then I'll try to eat something before the Patreon live stream. Hopefully you all are making healthier food choices after hearing me talk about food for so long on my channel. I'm always talking about eating healthier, so hopefully I'm inspiring a few of your grocery shopping choices. Curried chicken, cauliflower, and mushrooms. Not bad. Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't always vegan, so no big deal. And I'm not one of those vegans that chastises people because of their choice to eat meat. I ate meat for 19 years, so I'm I'm not any better than anyone else. So I don't hold it against anybody. Started a diet yesterday, not happy. You have to tell me what diet that is. My wife and we've been on 100% whole foods for 16 days now. So no sugar, no processed food, no flour, uh, no oil. I made dinner last night. I water fried some onions, mushrooms, and red, green, and yellow bell pepper. And then I made kasha, which is bulgur. It's kind of like a rice type of grain, but it tastes much better than rice in my opinion. I can just boil it and eat it plain. It's so good. I'm trying to remember the English word for it, but I can't remember. It's some kind of grain type thing. Like I said, like rice. It's spelled Bulgur, bulgur. It has a terrible name. I think what I'm doing for this month with my food choices is probably the closest I've ever gotten to a diet, because I don't consider my vegan lifestyle a diet. It's just my normal thing. But certainly what I'm doing now, I would consider it a diet, since I do plan on only doing it temporarily. Yeah, yeah. All the wrong foods do taste quite good. That is for sure. Of course, many of them are chemically produced in a way specifically to make you crave them. All those fast food restaurants have scientists in a laboratory somewhere, concocting up some kind of ridiculous Frankenstein food so that the way that it interacts with our taste buds is that kind of gets us hooked like some kind of narcotic. Yeah, making, through the years, when people ask me for advice on making better food choices, one of the things that I always say is don't think about what you need to remove from your diet. When as soon as you go to a place where you're like, oh well, I can't eat this, and oh, I'm gonna give this up, and it has a very negative connotation to it. It doesn't. It's not a very positive way of looking at it. And so what I tell them to do, instead of looking at all the things that you need to get rid of, all the things you can no longer eat, instead replace them. Don't don't just cut things out arbitrarily. Instead, replace your choices with choices that you'll be happy with and that you can make as an alternative. For instance, let's look at maybe you like hamburgers. You like to make burgers or something like that. There are a lot of alternative patties that you can use, and they're not all the same. They don't all taste the same or anything like that. And in a lot of ways, I like to make my own burger type patties. You can do it out of green lentils. You can do it out of kidney beans. My favorite is kidney beans, onion, and spinach, and then you season it with a little bit of smoked paprika, and then you put it in a food processor. You put all the ingredients in a food processor, and it essentially makes just a mush that you can patty together just like you would ground beef or whatever. And so you can find ways to replace the stuff that you enjoy. Because I always liked hamburgers, and I have burgers all the time. Well, not so much this month, but there's this one burger place that I go to, at least twice a month called Nye Nache. And they have several different types of burgers. They have one that kind of tastes like a breaded, deep fried chicken. And then they just got the Impossible Burger, which I had in the States, which is shockingly similar to, a regular ground beef type burger. It's not the healthiest of alternative burger choices, and it's not the cheapest, that's for sure. But there's alternatives that exist, and it could be milk, it could be cheese, it could be all kinds of things that you start replacing, and you can do it slowly. You don't have to do an overnight thing like I did in my life. One day I wasn't vegan, the next day I was vegan, and I've been vegan for 10 years now. So for me, it was one day I wasn't, and the next day I was, and for the past decade I have been. And I know that's probably not very easy for a lot of people, so. So I hope you get a little encouragement with my suggestion. One of the things I like to do is find foods that I've never tried. I recently tried a red banana. Never tried a red banana, and when I mentioned it, a lot of people in the chat never heard of a red banana. But I saw them in the store, and I was like, I have no idea what this is, but I'm gonna try it. Tried a plantain for the first time recently, and it was interesting. I was a little impatient with it getting riper, so it was still a little bitter, but I fried it, and it was okay. There's a lot of different ways to make plantains, though. I'm trying to think of what else new stuff I've tried out. Macadamia nuts. I don't think I've ever really just had a macadamia nut, and I recently tried those, and it was super good. I had no idea that macadamia nuts even tasted like they did. I've had them like in cookies or something, but not like homemade cookies. So I never actually bought individual macadamia nuts, and I recently did, and they were quite delicious. So is it hard to find vegan places to eat in Poland? Oh goodness, no, not at all. It's so easy, which is, it might sound surprising. Because it was kind of surprising to me how easy it was. I didn't put a lot of thought into it when I first came to visit Poland. But when I first came to visit Poland, didn't have any problem finding a good restaurant to eat at. And more of them pop up, like on a monthly basis. At the same time, a few of our favorite restaurants have actually went out of business. But there's a solid core of restaurants that are here that makes it super easy. There's this the one like random, well, not the one popular theme of food is burgers. Like, Poles love burgers. They just fell in love with burgers. And so there's like a million different burger places. And they're all good. Some better than others, but in the end, they're all good. When my wife and I go to Krakow. There's just so many different types of vegan restaurants. There's this one really cool sandwich place that make cold sandwiches, and they have this black bread that is just amazing. There's this one Turkish place, I can't remember the name, Vega Totu, and they make these like wrap things with, I don't even know what, a bunch of veggies and some sauces, and it's amazing. There's this place called Loft Pizza. They make okay pizzas. Unfortunately, it's not the greatest pizza place, but they have a whole vegan menu with just endless vegan pizza options, anything you can think of. Then there's this Japanese restaurant that has everything from vegan sushi to, just normal Japanese style food, but a vegan version of it. And that's called Podnaganami. So there's so many options here. It's very, very easy. And, unless you're looking for it, you don't really realize how popular veganism has become. Because I don't have a doubt in my mind that Australia is filled with fantastic vegan restaurants. You just don't know. You're just not aware of them until you start looking for them. I couldn't go vegan meat. I can live without, but not milk or eggs. Yeah, I get that one a lot. Vegans can drink beer. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with yeast. Some vegans have issue with honey. I am not one of those vegans. I don't eat honey, but I wouldn't not eat honey. So I know there's some beers and stuff that use honey. So some vegans would not drink that beer, but I actually haven't. I don't know if I haven't mentioned it this year, but growing up, I never drank. I never drank alcohol. I don't think I drank alcohol until I was about 23, 22, 23, something like that. And even then, I would only ever do it socially, so like one drink maximum. But last year it became quite common for my wife and I to just get a bottle of wine just about each month. So we'd go through a bottle of wine in a month, which isn't a lot for two people at all. But I just, I felt like it was developing a bad habit. So I told her that for this year, I'm not drinking any alcohol at all. So I just, I just flipped that switch off when the new year hit. After New Year's, we had a bottle of wine for New Year's, for New Year's Eve / New Year's, staying up for the fireworks. And that was the last drink that I had. And I said that for this year, at least for this year, I wasn't going to drink any alcohol at all. I kind of have this obsession, this mild obsession with self-discipline. And so I always like to know that I am in control. And so I'll sometimes just flip switches like that. I'll be doing one thing one day and I'll just turn it off the next day, and I'll just be like, I'm not going to do it for a long time. Fasting, intermittent fasting, I used to do that a lot. I still fast a couple times a year. You know, the last fast that I did was 5 days. So I just did 5 days with just water. And I just do it to strengthen, strengthen my self-discipline and all of that. I feel like it's not necessarily, it's not bad for your health. It's not necessarily good for your health to do intermittent fasting, but there are health benefits. There are health benefits to intermittent fasting, but really there's nothing of significance past 3 days, I think. So anything past 3 days is kind of excessive, but for the sake of self-discipline, I did it for a little bit longer. Oh, good morning, Danny. What makes honey different to eggs, for example? Is it to do with animal welfare? Honestly, I couldn't answer the question. I don't, I never really get into the debate of the animal rights part of my vegan lifestyle, because I never became vegan for the sanctity of animals. It wasn't something that had ever crossed my mind. The reason I became vegan was purely because it is the most optimal human diet. Humans are not meant to drink milk from a completely different animal. Therefore, we're not meant to eat cheese. Cheese is probably cheese and dairy are probably the number one contributing factors to the global diabetes epidemic. Nothing causes diabetes more than dairy. And so that was my reasoning, and it's always been my reasoning. It's always been because if I'm one of those odd people that doesn't like eating in the first place. I hate that we have to eat. I hate that we have to sleep and do all those other biological functions. I hate all of that. So if I didn't have to eat, that's what I would choose. But as it turns out, that's not an option. So instead, my thought is, if I have to eat, I'm just going to eat so that I am maximally healthy. And a vegan diet is the best, scientifically is the best option to live as healthy as possible. I mean, vegans live on average 7 years longer than anyone else. So, and they also suffer less from like osteoporosis, cancers, heart disease. I mean, like the top 8 number one killers for humans, diabetes, heart disease, stroke, obesity. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. I think that's like the top 4 or 5 or something like that. I significantly lower my risk, almost to zero on all fronts of those types of diseases. So, like, why not? I mean, I'd rather live without it. So. Hey there, Haume. Haume. I need to look up pronunciation of your name again. Haumi? Is that it? Haumi? Hauma? It drives me nuts. Check pronunciation Catalan. Yeah, I see two pronunciations. One is how me and how ma. But I'm a little confused of whether or not the J is pronounced with like an H or a J. Jaume or Jauma? Jauma? Okay, I'm near there, so it is pronounced with an H, not a J. Okay, I'll get there. I promise. I promise. All right, I got. Oh wait, I still need a little bit over here. That's what I was doing. I lost track of what I was doing for a second. I need to fill in these last little bits, and then I can blend with some solvent. And who is it? Lindy. I know you're asking ironically. The solvent that I use is Zest-It. And I spilled some all over my desk over here. Oh, hey there, Shiny. Oh, now you say, now it was perfect. I don't remember how I said it. All right, where is this stripe at? It's this one, okay. So which way is it pronounced? Spell it for me. Is it pronounced with the how ma or how me? Is it me or ma? I'm gonna get this down, okay, and then I'll never have trouble again. I'm committed to the correct pronunciation. Do I have a favorite piece of your artwork? Um, I would say my favorite right now is probably my female figure painting in pastels. I did it several months ago, if I'm not mistaken. I live streamed the entire progress and then I did a time lapse of it. That one might be my favorite right now. And it will probably remain my favorite until I finish my oil painting. Because I've been working on my oil painting. Well, sadly, I haven't worked on it in like a month and a half. Partially because of this live stream. This live stream series. But once it's done, it may be my for sure favorite for quite a long time. That is until I do another oil painting. Alright, I think there's a little bit more that I can do on this sleeve. Yeah, there's some. So this. One of these days I'll send you an audio recording and then you'll have it right. All right, I look forward to that. Yeah, send me an audio recording. Email it to me or something. Or there's several audio recordings that I see on YouTube, but I don't know which one is correct because there's several different ones. So maybe just send me the link to the correct one, and then I'll have it. I'll have it and I'll study it and I'll make sure I never say it wrong again. I have this. See, I'm really really bad at remembering names. Like when I meet somebody for the first time, it's more likely that I forget your name before I even finish shaking your hand than the sun is going to set. Okay, that's how bad I am with names. And so, another thing that bothers me is not saying names correctly. And I realize that, depending on where you're from, your name may or may not be quite difficult to say. And I went to the University of Washington, and it's better known as the University of China because the Chinese population there is just it's high. Okay, it's like 50%. It feels like most of the time. I had a math class where I think I was the only American student, and even the instructor was Chinese. So it was an experience to say the least. And a lot of the Chinese students will have you call them by an Americanized name, like Peter or something weird. And I never wanted to, if I met them and chatted with them, or I had study group with them or something, I didn't want them to Americanize their name just so that it was easier for me to pronounce. It always bothered me. I always wanted, your parents gave you a name. Let me be the one that struggles with the pronunciation, not cop out with a simplified, oh, this is easier for me to say name. Oh, this is easier for me to say, so let me call you something your parents didn't intend for you to be called. I don't know, it just feels wrong to me for that to be the case. So I always make the effort to pronounce names correctly. and it drives me nuts when I can't. My my Some of my Polish friends, they will do that. They will they will refer to somebody as the Americanized version or the English version of the name, and I will call them by, I will say their name in Polish, their real name. But my Polish pronunciation is perfectly fine, so I don't struggle with Polish names anymore. Once you learn the alphabet in Polish and learn the sounds of a few of the particular syllables, then it's really easy. And that takes like 5 minutes. All right. Well, don't work too hard, and send me that video link soon. All right. Now it's all filled in. Now I'm going to use my solvent. For the long and tedious process of smoothing out those dark stripes. I thought that I figured I'd just fill it in and then work into the lighter gray stripes, but I want to smooth it out, so I'll be doing this for some time. I'm going to try to get those edges a little bit more solid, so I have cleaner, sharper edges using my brush and my solvent. What is your, if you don't mind me asking, what is your name, Sue? If you enjoy seeing people squirm, then perhaps, well, I won't squirm, but I may struggle saying your name. I mean, since that's not your real name, I have no idea what part of the world you're from, so not sure. My guess is that you have an Indian name. I don't know why, but for some reason your screen name just gives me the idea that you're from India. So that's where I'm guessing. Okay, so Gila, is that how you pronounce your name? I'm guessing that it's not, because that would be rather easy. It's from Germany. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about the German language. I never studied it or anything like that to get the pronunciations. My wife, she's really good. She knows quite a bit of German, actually, and she's really good at pronouncing German stuff. I mean, she lived in Germany for quite some time, so it makes sense. She's really good with languages. Yeah, I don't know how G's are pronounced in German. I would just have, I would just say Gila or Gila. I think Gila. That's how I would pronounce it if I wasn't told otherwise. Even your wife calls you James? That's funny. Oh, I am pronouncing it right. Cool. All right. That's a win for me. Yeah, I remember you saying I could call you James, but like I said, I have too much pride, too much too much pride to call somebody by their Americanized name. Do I find it easier to pick the right colors, especially dark, when you draw the background first? So when I pick my colors, I isolate them digitally. So I create like a digital color palette, and so I pick my colors independently from any anything else. And that's what I find to be the best way to do it. I do a lot of drawings without a background, so I can't really use the background as a guide in any way. So I isolate my colors in Photoshop, and then I select my pencils based on matching that color. A better option would be to like create the digital color chart and then have it printed out so that I could see the picture in my own light. Because there's a degree of error that I make by looking at the colors off of a screen. Because screens have a built-in optical illusion that you can't get around as long as you're looking at a screen. And that is the only thing that gives the color in the screen a picture is light. So, it's hard to visualize black on a screen that is emitting light. I mean, even when you don't have, you ever have like no input on your TV or something, but it's on, but it's just a black screen, but you turn off all the lights in the house and somehow the TV is still emitting light. Well, you can't emit light and be black. So, what is black on a TV screen is not black at all because, as I just explained, you can't emit light and be black. So like I said, there's a degree of error choosing your colors off of a screen because it's not as accurate as if you were able to print them out and physically see the color printed on paper. I'll ask my wife to print out my reference photo probably in before the end of the week. Maybe I'll have her print them out tomorrow since it's Friday and have her bring them. That way when I start working on like the finer details, I'll have a better representation of the colors on paper, and so I can match the reference photo better that way. Oh, thank you, Jewel. I'll see you next time. And you also, Lynn. And Haumi. One of those, potentially. You'll let me know in the future. Don't forget. Have a good day at work. I might have missed a question. Oh, yeah, Danny talking about the beta fish that we're going to do over on Patreon. Yep. I look forward to doing that one too. I have the line art sketched out here, and I used I used a little bit of the white polychromos to do the outline so that I could see it better on the gray paper. I think I'm going to try to push through and get all the blending done, even if it takes me up to like a 2 hour live stream. Because there's times where like I'm live streaming and I'm anxious. You know, I have like this desire to get to a certain point, and I can't really go any farther. But then there's live streams like today where I'm really not even paying much attention to what I'm doing, and I've kind of gotten into a relaxed state of mind, and that's my favorite place to be when I'm creating. Since I do this for a living now, it happens less and less with my projects. But every now and again, you know, I just get into this like really peaceful state where I feel like I could just work all day. I think it partially has to do with my setup here, my studio setup. It's not very. I don't feel like it's very conducive to creativity. I feel very stunted in this small corner in my room here, and so it just it's not really comfortable to work in. And when I'm not comfortable, it's hard to get in the state of mind where I can just sit and draw or paint for hours and hours and hours. But today I kind of feel like that. And I hope that it carries over to today's Patreon live stream also. Just a bit lower energy, I guess. A more peaceful energy. That's what I have today. These lights, though, they're trying to ruin it. These lights are making my eyes go weird. This one here keeps shining into my eye. Oh, hey there, Janice. I'm glad you're able to stop by for a little bit. You know, one of the other things that I want to mention is that I do have a spot available, a spot opened up for a student. So I have a student spot available, and what that is a private art lesson every month. We can do whatever projects you want to work on, and basically it's a Google Hangout with just me and the student. So whoever gets the student spot, you just schedule a class with me, and you know, if you want to learn portraits, I'll teach you everything you need to know to do portraits, whether it's with pastels or colored pencils or whatever subject or whatever medium you're working with. So I do have one of those spots available. They do not come available very often. In fact, it's been sold out for, I think, about the last 2 years or so. And I opened up an extra spot. I opened up the 5th spot because I was only taking on 4 students at a time. So just want to give everyone the heads up. So if you were looking to get one of those student spots, honestly, I'd be surprised if it was still open by the end of this live stream, now that I'm saying it. But I'm thinking about transitioning a bit more into the private art lessons. I got to do a few calculations once I get back from the United States, and once I finish my pastel portrait course, which I'll be doing in July. In August, I'll be putting a pause on my student tier on Patreon, and I'm thinking about opening up a different student tier and having more availability. So like taking on like 10 students, I'm thinking about doing that. So my time would be a bit more constrained from live streams here on YouTube, especially the daily live streams. But that's something that I'll probably implement maybe next year. It just depends on where life takes me for the rest of this year. I've gotten further and further away from doing pre-recorded videos, but I'm not sure which I like more. You know, I really enjoy doing the live streams and hanging out, but they're tough to do. No doubt about it. Before, I never liked like doing art in front of people and letting them like watch me do it. I never liked that. But the live streams have changed me, I guess, in a better way. But the YouTube live streams, they do okay, and I really enjoy doing them. But doing them on top of the Patreon live streams is quite difficult, simply because of the amount of time, the amount of time I prepare for just a 1 hour live stream. You know, it takes quite a bit of time that you guys don't see. And so I might slow down on the YouTube live streams after this month, and then focus a little bit more on doing the pre-recorded videos. So something like that. I'm just throwing out some thoughts. Happen to see Illuminance pencils available at the store. Is that a good brand? Yes, it is basically the standard of professional colored pencil artists. Luminance. I am unaware of any other pencils that outperform Caran d'Ache Luminance pencils. And when you pay for them, you'd have a hard time imagining that there could be a brand out there that outperforms them for their price. I don't even remember. I think it was like 280, 280 US dollars when I bought my set of luminance pencils, and it took me about 2 years to even come close to considering the purchase of them. Because when I first came across them, I was like, I cannot spend that much on pencils. And the funny thing is, now I spend so much money on art supplies that it doesn't even seem weird to me. Like, I spend as much on art supplies as some people do on their cars. The amount of money I've spent on art supplies in the past 2 years, I could have probably bought a brand new car. Like, if I took all the money that I spent on art supplies in the past 2 years, I could go to a dealership and just buy a brand new car outright. Just own the car. Just walk in with all the cash and just buy a brand new car. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed your questions, Janice, about the Patreon stuff. Yeah, so I have my Patreon page link in the description. So if you were to head over to sign up for the student slot, essentially you just go to the main page, and on the right side it will have the pledge tiers. I have like the tip jar for $1 or whatever, and then I have the streamer tier for the $5, and that gives you all of my tutorials, which is like well over 100 now. And then below that will be the student tier, and it should say that there's one spot available, unless it's already been picked up. And you just click on like join or pledge or whatever. I haven't pledged to another person on Patreon in a while. I have a few pledges. I support a few of my friends. Lisa, and friend Jeff, comic book artist. Leontine. Many of you probably know Leontine. She does a lot of pastel and color pencil work as well. I'm not even going to try to pronounce her last name. Oh, good morning, Wendy. It's good to see you. Good to see you again. I liked that that woodpecker bird that you were working on yesterday. That one is looking really good from what I saw yesterday. It's really like the correct me if I'm mistaken, but it looked like there was like a mushroom growing from the tree above the woodpecker's head, and with like a little bit of moss on the tree. It looked phenomenal. So I really look forward to seeing that project completed in the future. How much did you say the set of pencils cost you? Oh, the full set of luminance. If I'm not mistaken, when I bought them, I have no idea what the prices is now. When I bought the full set, it was $280. And I don't know if that was a good price or a really bad one. I can't recall shopping around. I know I bought them offline. That I did for sure. possibly bought them from Amazon, but yeah, they were a hefty price. They were like 270, 280, something around that price range. It's been several years. It's been like 5 years since I bought them, so forgive me if I am mistaken. The funny thing is, getting the whole set is kind of like the best thing, because once you have the whole collection, it's a lot easier to buy the pencils individual, because you could kind of piece the set together, but I just feel like it's a lot easier to just have the whole set and then replace the pencils as you need them. I don't know if that seems obvious or not, but for me it just feels easier, I guess. Oh goodness, I got about half of the shirt blended out so far. So it's coming along. I can see that there's a few stripes that are going to need a bit more layering on. This pencil here, I had to sharpen with the knife. It's gotten so short at this point, but also it doesn't seem to want to write very well. Like, it doesn't want to apply itself to the paper very well. It seems like I hit kind of a dry spot in the core of the pencil. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't seem to want to go down on the paper, which is a little odd for a luminance pencil. But every once in a while you get kind of a dry luminance pencil that's really scratchy. One of the colors that I always had a problem with was the 406, the luminance 406 color, which is like a dark brown. And I always had a problem with it being scratchy on the paper. And it's one of luminance's probably worst colors. It's very, very translucent. And I don't even know if it's light fast, if it's one of their light fast pencils, or it's one of the very few that are lower on the light fastness range. But yeah, I never had a problem with the 508 pencil. But you can see where I blended it out, like this stripe, these like 4-5 stripes here, they're not nearly as covered as these ones on the sleeve that I did yesterday. Oh, awesome, Wendy. Yeah, I can't wait to see it. Yeah, the mushroom and the moss, it looked so good. When you were streaming yesterday, you just had like the bit of the head and maybe a bit of the neck filled in on the woodpecker, so it wasn't wasn't quite in focus in comparison to the mushroom and moss, but it looked really, really good. I guess that's the full set of luminance pencils, right? Yeah, yeah. The price that I was talking about, that's the full set. And I always get it wrong. There's 74. When you buy the full set, there's 74 pencils and then 2 colorless blenders. And don't discount the colorless blenders. They're awesome. I love the Luminance colorless blender. Much, much better than the Prismacolor colorless blender, which I find to just be completely pointless to have. But I've bought several Luminance colorless blenders to replace them because they're really a really good tool to smooth out like skin. So I use the Luminance colorless blender a lot. I feel like it's a misconception or just a flat out deception to call them blenders. They should just call them smoothers, because honestly I don't feel like they blend anything, but they certainly smooth things really nicely. Now it looks like I have a dark blue and white striped shirt. Throw in a few shadows on the white part, and I could almost call this shirt complete. But I don't want to look like I'm in some old school prison, happily in an old school prison with a black and white striped shirt. Am I enjoying taking my time on this piece, or do you sometimes just want to work it off camera to finish? No, I'm enjoying doing it just on the live stream. I haven't had any urge whatsoever to finish it off camera. I've had the thought of maybe doing some off camera, just to make sure that I get it done in time. But that was like last week when hadn't even finished the face, and I thought, how am I going to finish this project that I know the shirt's going to take forever? But the shirt is coming along nicely for 2 days of work. Or it has been 2 days of work, right? I think this is day 2 of the shirt. Day 1 was filling in the stripes. I finished filling in the stripes today, and now I'm blending it. Yeah, so today's day 2 of working on the shirt. I imagine 3 more days on the shirt, possibly. And then once I have that done, that will take me up to the 20th. So 17, 18, 19 finish filling in the shirt, and then the stream on the 20th I will basically start over. I'll go back to the background, start filling in the background more, really clean up my edges. That's going to be my main focus for reworking the background, is cleaning up the edges around the outline of me, and just get really solid foundation on the background, because there's still some graininess that I think I can get rid of on the background, and I really want to try to get rid of it, make it look as little like a colored pencil as possible, just make it as smooth and glossy as I possibly can. And so I think one extra day doing that for the background will go a long way. And then the 21st, I should be able to get started on the face and really fine tune both my facial features and my skin tone. And I'll probably spend, I don't know, maybe 3 days reworking all of the skin. So I'll rework the face, the neck, the ear, and my hand and arm down here. That'll take me up to about the 25th, 26th. And then I'll rework my hair, get my hair looking a bit more natural. Right now it doesn't look too bad, but I feel like I could darken it some more. I could darken the shadows a bit more and make the color pop out a little bit more. Just make it look more natural overall. And then, yeah, that will leave me the last couple days at least to do the final polishing. So just a couple days of polishing the details and just making everything look exactly the way that I want it to look. Do some color toning if I need it, because remember I'm doing my whole color tone is red and green, you know, like a happy complementary color kind of thing. And so probably do a little bit of extra toning, especially on my shirt, you know, adding some darker greens to the shadows and maybe a bit of reds to the highlights, and just overall reinforcing that complementary theme that I've been wanting to go with on this project. Oh, thank you, Janice. I'm glad you signed up for the student tier. So what you're gonna want to do to schedule your class, if you want to schedule your class, just message me on Facebook. We'll set up a time that works for you and me, and you know, you can send me some pictures of maybe a project that you're currently working on that you'd like my help with. Usually the first class is kind of going over what you want to learn, the direction that you want your art to go, what supplies you have, you know, what medium you want to focus on learning, what subjects you want to learn. Usually that's the first class, so it's pretty introductory. And then from the first class, I'll give you some homework based on what you can work on before we have the next class. And then of course as a student, you have unlimited access to me. So my other students, they have projects that they're working on now. And when they get to a certain point, they'll just like send me a picture and they'll ask for my input. I'll give them input, and you can do that at any time. So you have that unlimited. And then we have a video class once a month. So that's essentially everything. But yeah, just send me a message over on Facebook, and we can start scheduling our first class. I do not do classes on the weekends. Just keep that in mind. Weekends are reserved only for me and my wife. So no weekend classes. They're always during the week. But pretty much I stay flexible based on my student schedules. and I kind of plan things around the classes. Actually, oh wait, no, I had one student that had to reschedule. She had a class today, but she had to reschedule it kind of last minute. I was about to say that I have class with a student today, but yeah, I just remember that she rescheduled it. Yeah, so Joel, they answered your question about the the name of the pencils. So they have the name right. I missed your question. If you guys, usually if you have a question for me, if you put the @ symbol and then type Unmask Art, you can click on my name. A little screen will pop up below the text, and you can click my name, and it will tag me in your question, and it will highlight it on my screen so that it's less likely for me to miss it. So just keep that in mind. I just finished. I blended it all out. What time is it? Oh yeah, not a bad time either. Hour and 10 minutes. Yeah, that's a good time. Tomorrow, what I'll probably do, I'll have to add another layer to some of the stripes, and then what I think I'll just end up doing is after I add that layer to these parts, I'll just start filling in the light gray. Yeah, that's what I think I'll do. Let's make sure I have it. Yeah, that's right. This elbow here has been tricky. Okay, yeah, that's right. That's all good. Yeah. So tomorrow I'll apply another layer of the dark gray, and then I'll do the lighter gray. And I think I realized how I'm going to do the lighter gray, because really it has this kind of like thin pinstripe pattern. I think what I'll do is I'll ignore the white or the really light gray pinstripe that goes through the lighter gray stripes, and I'll just pick like a neutral lighter gray than this color, and I'll do the whole thing. And then after I have it really smooth, I can just use a lighter gray pencil and add those light pinstriping effect for the texture. Because I mean, at the scale in which you even really see them for this drawing, it's not a lot. So yeah, I think that would be the best option. Just kind of ignore the really fine cloth texture, since I'm not super zoomed in and I'm not drawing this really large. I think that's what I'll do. So that is going to be it for today. Yeah, Cece, you just missed it. But at least you're up now. We can play video games. No, I'm kidding. That pop-up isn't on mobile devices. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for letting me know that, Wendy. Either way, you can do the @ symbol and type Unmask Art, and that will work. All right, everyone, that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for coming by and hanging out and asking questions. It's always a pleasure. I always enjoy it. We'll be starting a new project over on Patreon in just a few hours. Going to do a beta fish. I have my line art up here ready to go, so that's what we're going to be doing, another colored pencil tutorial. So be sure to join me over there if you're not already. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I will see you next time. Take care. Peace.